My family flew 18 states over for my sister's gender reveal, but they ghosted me at my wedding. I still remember the text from my mom, the one that made my chest tighten. "We're all flying out for Emily's big day. Can't wait to celebrate her." Emily, my younger sister, had been pregnant for a few months, and apparently that was the event of the century. Meanwhile, I was planning my wedding, a day I had dreamed about since I was a little girl. Invitations sent, caterers booked, flowers picked. I imagined my family cheering for me as I walked down the aisle. Then came the gut punch. Not one of them RSVP'd yes for my own wedding. Not my mom, not my dad, not my older brother who lives in the same city as me. My heart sank. I tried to call my mom, hoping there was some mistake. "Mom, did you get my wedding invitation?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Oh, honey, we're just so busy with Emily's gender reveal. You understand, right?" she said casually, like she was talking about a lunch date and not the biggest day of my life. I couldn't understand it. They'd flown 18 states over to attend Emily's party, but somehow my wedding, my entirely planned wedding, wasn't even on their radar. I felt invisible, like I was shouting and no one could hear me. I tried to shake it off, thinking maybe I was overreacting. Maybe they'd show up last minute, but deep down, I knew better. My sister had always been the golden child, always had the attention, always got the spotlight. And I'd learned to fade into the background. As the days counted down, the anxiety gnawed at me. Every time I opened my inbox, every time I scrolled through messages, I hoped for a text, "See you at the wedding," but nothing came. Finally, the day arrived. My husband, James, tried to comfort me. "Hey, it's gonna be okay. We have each other, and everyone who really cares will be there," he said, squeezing my hand. But as I looked around at the empty chairs reserved for my family, the weight of disappointment hit like a ton of bricks. I felt tears prick at my eyes. How could they prioritize a gender reveal over the most important day of my life? The ceremony began, and James looked at me with that calm, reassuring smile that made me fall in love with him all over again. But my heart still ached. I couldn't help but glance at the doorway, half expecting my family to walk in. They didn't. And then, during the vows, I felt it, the sting of betrayal. I realized that this wasn't just about missing the wedding. This was about being seen, about being valued. And for the first time, I truly understood how little I mattered in their eyes. When the reception started, I tried to put on a brave face, smiling and laughing with friends. But every laugh felt hollow. Every cheer felt like a reminder that the people I wanted most there weren't. I kept checking my phone, hoping for a message, a call, anything. And then it buzzed. A single message from my sister. "Congrats, I guess. Hope the day's going well. Sorry we can't make it." I stared at it, my hand trembling. Sorry we can't make it? That was it? 18 states over for a party I didn't even know about, and this was the apology for ghosting my wedding? I stuffed the phone in my purse, trying to hold it together, but inside I was furious and hurt, and I couldn't shake the question, was I ever really going to matter to them? The night dragged on, and I kept catching glimpses of empty chairs. Each one was a punch in the gut. My wedding had been perfect in so many ways. Beautiful decorations, perfect cake, laughter everywhere. But the shadow of my absent family hung over it. And just when I thought I couldn't feel worse, a new message came through. It was from my dad. I froze. My heart was racing. What could he possibly want to say? Was this finally the conversation I'd been dreading, or something worse? I didn't know. But one thing was certain, nothing was going to feel normal again. The next morning, I couldn't stop thinking about my dad's message. "We need to talk. Call me when you can." My mind raced with every possible scenario. Was he finally going to admit they'd made a mistake? Or was this just another excuse for their selfishness? James tried to call me. Don't let it ruin the start of your marriage. Whatever he says, it doesn't change what we have, he said, holding my hand. But the truth was, I couldn't ignore it. I had to know. I dialed his number, my fingers shaking. It rang 3 times before he picked up. Hello? His voice was cautious, almost defensive. Hi, Dad. You said we need to talk. I tried to keep my voice steady, but it trembled. There was a pause, and then he sighed. Look, about the wedding, it wasn't that we didn't want to come. It's complicated. I felt my stomach twist. Complicated? Dad, you flew across the country for Emily's gender reveal. You had time for that, but not for me? I know it looks bad, he said, and I could hear the tension in his voice. But Emily, she's going through a rough time, and, well, we thought she needed us more. Your wedding, we thought you'd understand. Understand? Dad, it's my wedding, the one day I've been dreaming about my entire life, and I was invisible to you all. My voice cracked, anger and hurt mingling into one. I didn't think it would hurt you this much, he admitted, finally sounding human instead of the untouchable figure I remembered from childhood. We thought we were doing the right thing. I wanted to scream at him, throw all the pent-up frustration and heartbreak into the phone, but instead, I took a shaky breath. So it was all about her, always has been. Emily's going through a special time, he said weakly. We wanted to support her. I hung up before I could say more. Tears blurred my vision. I felt numb. I'd been holding on to hope, believing they'd show up at my wedding, believing they cared. But the truth, they cared more about appearances, more about Emily's milestones than mine. James hugged me, and I let myself cry on his shoulder. I just don't get it. I gave them everything, my heart, my invitation, my excitement, and it wasn't enough. They'll figure it out someday, he whispered, but you have to live your life without waiting for them to care. I nodded, but deep down, I couldn't shake the bitterness. I wanted them to realize what they'd lost, what they'd missed. My wedding was beautiful, yes, but every laugh, every kiss, every toast was shadowed by the empty chairs. Days passed, and I tried to focus on our honeymoon plans, on building a life with James. But then came another message, from my sister this time. Mom and Dad are upset you're still upset. Can't you just let it go? I stared at my phone, the anger bubbling up again. Let it go? After everything? I realized then that confronting my family wasn't just about hurt feelings. It was about standing up for myself, about refusing to be the invisible sister anymore. I texted back, let's talk, face to face. I need answers. And that's when I saw it. My mother had RSVP'd to Emily's gender reveal again, even though it had already happened. She was planning to go back. 18 states, for the second time. I felt my blood boil. How could they keep prioritizing her over me? Something inside me snapped. I wasn't going to be ignored anymore. I was going to confront them, and they were going to understand, whether they liked it or not. But I knew one thing for certain. This confrontation was going to get messy. The day I confronted my family arrived, and I felt a mix of dread and determination. I wasn't sure if they'd listen or if this would explode into chaos, but I couldn't stay silent anymore. I invited them all over, my mom, Dad, even Emily. They arrived, perfectly composed, as if nothing had happened. Their smiles were hollow, rehearsed. I could feel my blood pressure rising. Thanks for coming, I started, trying to keep my voice steady. I think we need to talk about my wedding and your absence. Mom's eyes flicked nervously. We had Emily's gender reveal to think about. You know how important that was? Yes, I know, I said, my voice sharper now. And while you flew across the country for her, you ignored the single most important day of my life, my wedding. You didn't care enough to be there. Dad opened his mouth, then closed it. I could see him struggling. Emily, my sister, looked down at her hands, quiet. Finally, I continued. Do you realize what that feels like? to plan a wedding, to invite the people you love, and have them choose her over you? Mom tried to interrupt. Sweetheart, it wasn't like that. No, stop, I said firmly, cutting her off. It was exactly like that, and it hurt. Every empty chair, every missed moment, every smile I forced while hoping you'd walk through the door, it all hurt. Silence filled the room. I could see the guilt flicker in their eyes, but also defensiveness. I'm not here to punish you, I said, taking a deep breath. I'm here to tell you that I won't be invisible anymore. I deserve to be seen, to be valued, just like Emily. You can't keep putting her first and expecting me to quietly accept it. My dad finally spoke. We didn't realize it hurt you this much. We thought you'd understand. Understand? I asked, my voice cracking. I understand now. I understand that I've been competing for your attention my whole life, and I've been losing. Emily's eyes filled with tears. I never wanted this, she whispered. I just didn't know. I shook my head. It's not just about not knowing, Emily. It's about choices. You chose me, or rather, you didn't choose me, and that's something I needed to face, to call out. Mom's shoulders slumped. We're sorry. We messed up. I let the words sink in, feeling the tension ease slightly. I wasn't asking for perfection. I wasn't asking for undoing the past. I just wanted acknowledgement, honesty, and a promise to treat me with the respect I deserved. I forgive you, for now, but things need to change. I won't be pushed aside again. There was a long pause. Then my dad nodded, finally meeting my eyes. We hear you. We'll try to do better. I felt something shift inside me. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't just the ignored sister. I was a woman who could stand up for herself, who could demand to be seen. James came over and wrapped his arm around me. See, you're stronger than you think, he whispered. And he was right. That day, I reclaimed my voice. I reclaimed my life. My family may have made their choices, but I had made mine, and I chose to no longer let their favoritism define me. The wedding I thought they ruined, it didn't matter anymore. The love and life I built with James, that was my real celebration. And as I looked at my phone, I thought about sending a message to my family. We're moving forward, together or not, but I'm done waiting for approval to be happy. Sometimes the people who are supposed to show up for you don't, but that doesn't mean you stop showing up for yourself. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more real-life drama and heartfelt stories.